Bakugo definitely had one of the best character developments of this era. This guy went from being selfish who always just thought about himself to actually becoming a guy who thinks about others and isn't self-centered anymore, but he is actually thinking about others too. Not only that, he faced the most dangerous villain in this series and ended up winning. We literally got Hydrogen Bomb was his baby in the anime. This is literally Vegeta level of character development, so we have to talk about it. Anyways, Ludwig, tell them to subscribe.
What's up those numbers?
Alright, I will be absolutely honest right now. Bakugo was a character in My Hero Academia who I slightly used to dislike because of how arrogant he was. I mean, he didn't seem like that much of a bad guy though. At least the guy didn't shock his dog. That would actually make me hate him more, but I guess since he was born with talent and one of the strongest quirk in the series, that actually got to his head since everyone around him told him that he was absolutely perfect, which was a sharp contrast to Midoriya's character, because since Midoriya was born without a quirk, which was the reason why he was absolutely humble the day he got one for all. As a matter of fact, he was too much humble, but Bakugo had a rude awakening when he thought that he was the reason for All Might's downfall, so he had to prove himself right now, and the final season is absolutely destroying all of the expectations that I had with his character. This moment was really insane. Can you imagine how much of it is written like God's plan? All for One right now was absolutely angry at Bakugo because he looked like Kudo, the second user of One for All. He had done everything in his power to get rid of him because he thought that he was the reason he didn't have his brother anymore. This was like a freaking divine intervention because All for One thought that Kudo right now was interfering once again in his life. When it came to getting One for All, this angered him so much. He lost all the rationality that was needed to execute his plans and went into straight up using All for One at its full potential. He was going to use his quirk to prop himself in one go and destroy everyone to fulfill his goals. Bakugo right now wasn't staring at anything normal. He was staring right into the face of death. The greatest villain of all time was about to use his full power in front of him, and what was his reaction? Bakugo remained calm and collected. This wasn't Bakugo of the past that was always fired up. This was a new Bakugo. He knew All for One can't win like this by using everything in one go. Bakugo had promised that he would surpass his limit and get stronger on his own. He didn't really care if he was facing All for One. He had a plan for this. He knew what he was doing, and the moment All for One propelled himself to destroy everything in his way, this was the moment it was going to be his loss. Bakugo didn't get out of the way even when All Might said so. He had used his explosion on him and waited for the moment for it to explode, and then it finally happened. His explosion worked on All for One and caused his huge body to fall down. What Bakugo did here was that he had mixed his explosive sweat in his normal sweat drops and had sent it to All for One's way after a delay, and he knew that some impact would absolutely cause him to explode. No way, he literally used explosion on All for One's face. He literally exploded on his face back then too. I mean, it kind of sounds bad if I say it out loud though. Can you imagine being All for One though? All your life you had taken a lot of quirk to turn yourself invincible, but this guy comes and says that one quirk is all that you need. He had already known from All Might that All for One aged backward after taking damage. The difference here was so insane between All for One and Bakugo. All for One thought that this was his story. Everyone else was a background character. The level of arrogance and entitlement one needs to have to actually think that they are the main character is really mind-blowing. It's clear that All for One didn't have to struggle for anything in his whole life. He was given everything, and the moment he faced struggle himself, he absolutely lost his mind. You don't get how satisfying this moment felt when Bakugo hit him with the Howlitzer impact. Can you imagine Bakugo right now having his wound open up? But he actually wanted to win. Bakugo still kept pushing and exploded his quirk on All for One to such an extent that he couldn't combine his quirk factor anymore. The reality was that All for One was consumed by his anger too, which also caused him to lose his control on his quirk. This was coming in full circle right now. It was years of karma finally catching up to him, and finally he was absolutely destroyed. This wasn't All for One's story. Bakugo, on the other hand, knew that it was everyone's story here. This was a story of everyone that helped him too, since they were really important. I like the messaging here though, because I feel like a lot of people think that they have to do everything alone, but the message here was that sometimes it's okay to ask for help. This was truly the end of All for One, and right now All for One had turned into a baby. He didn't have any power left, and Bakugo too couldn't move since he was absolutely tired. He couldn't fall here though because according to his logic, you are pretty strong if you keep standing despite of everything that he actually did. It was all about absolute victory here. I can't believe that we got to see Hydrogen Bomb versus Baby Meme right now in the anime because Bakugo literally stopped his attack with just his mouth and busted him with his explosion quirk and thus ended All for One's life. It kind of reminded me of a classical line.
Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once.
His redemption absolutely spot on. He literally beat the most evil villain in the series and he knew he could leave the rest to Midoriya now. And finally, I want to talk about All for One's backstory because good god, the guy was absolutely arrogant and entitled from the day he was born. He felt entitled to everything, even his own brother. Despite of the abuse that he gave him, he never really had to struggle for anything in his life like his brother, which was why when his brother was reading a heroic comic, Hero was the one who resonated with his brother more, while Demon Lord was the one that resonated with All for One more. He wanted to create a world where everyone lived solely for his sake. Why? Because he felt like he was entitled to everything. That was his dream. He even forced his brother to take a quirk no matter how much it hurt him. I don't know why, but I think he did it because he felt entitled to his brother's actions too. It's why he wanted to control him. But the turning point was when the resistance members came in and saved his brother one for all, because this was going to cause a series of domino effect which will lead to all of the events in the Hero Society, and All for One couldn't comprehend why his brother was escaping him. He didn't know why all of this was happening. The lack of awareness of this man absolutely baffles me. How can he not expect his brother to run away if he is really controlling? But this moment was absolutely dark. I can't believe that he actually ended his brother's life without even a single thought. I can't help but think, did he even care about him? This was the question I actually asked myself. All for One's eyes were absolutely cloudy and emotionless. There was no reflection of anything, which was messed up. They say eyes never lie and are a representation of someone too. I suppose it is why his eyes were just like this. He realized later on that One for All had been passed to another person just like that since his brother was too weak. It caused his quirk to manifest later on, and even Kudo understood it when his friend was doing a checkup on him that there were two quirk factors inside him. I actually understood one thing from here. One's power never really decided if they were evil or not. As a matter of fact, one's nature did. I mean, in Captain America, Steve Rogers didn't become evil when he got that super soldier serum, and All for One's brother was a nice person too. He said that if All for One had an ounce of compassion for others, if he only thought about others too, the power to give and take would be one of the most kindest powers in the world. So that's why I said it depended on someone's nature and perspective, how they use that power, which was why All for One's brother thought that this was a nice power, but it was used for bad things. But I will admit one thing, All for One was a good villain though. He knew what to do and how to manipulate others' desires. He literally went on a hunt to get back One for All and ended each and every one of his users. But every time he was near to get it, that power had been passed to the other users, eluding him every time until All Might actually caused a lot of damage on him. So I guess his entire existence was making others suffer and manipulating them, just so he could make everyone answer to his whims and desires. Anyways guys, that's about it for this video. Do leave a like and a subscribe if you want more of my content, and do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you all think about this video, and I will see you all in the next video. That's about it. Peace out, have fun.